Hello and welcome back to Kent with Clement's Moto. Now, what happens when you stick the engine out of an adventure bike into a sports bike? Well, that's what we've got today, the new 703RR from Zontes. So let's roll the intro and get cracking. Due in dealers in October this year, it looks to be a very exciting new sports bike, in line to give Honda, Suzuki and Triumph a run for their money. But what's it all about? Underneath you have a Zontes designed and built double overhead cam 699cc triple engine as found in the 703F adventure bike, producing 94 brake horsepower and 55 pounds-foot of torque, with a 6-speed box and quick shift on the upshift. Having a top speed of 121 miles an hour and on paper 47 miles to the gallon. You get 51mm upside down Marzocchi adjustable front forks and a Marzocchi rear monoshock. Brakes wise, you get twin 300mm front discs, seemingly just like the single one you get on the 368G, and of course you get J1 Spanish built radial calipers and the 240mm disc on the rear with a single piston caliper. You get alloy frame and alloy swing arm and keyless start. You get the electronic seat release by just pushing the button on the switch gear, and this little seat comes off, and then you've got the two bolts to undo there and get the rest of the seat off, and then it just slots back in there like so. He says, not quite as pushed down. Oh, there you go, it's not that difficult. 17-inch wheels front and rear with a 120 front tyre and a 180 rear using Michelin Power 6 rubber. You get a 16-litre fuel tank, and there is an option for £200 to get a front and rear mounted dash cam. And it sizes up like pretty much everything else in its class. Just over 2 metres long, 745mm wide and 1.15 metres tall, with an 820mm seat height. Again, 5'10½", with a 31.5-inch inside leg. I am flat-footed on here. Now you may be wondering, hang on a minute, the scooter 368G, that was only 770 and you weren't flat-footed. Yes, that's because it's a much wider seat on that scooter, so my legs are out here rather than very close to the bike here. So here I am seated, I am flat-footed quite happily, and it's not uncomfortable on my wrists by the feel of it. Obviously we'll tell when we go out on the road, but it's not traditional like a Fireblade where you're right down here. You're still very much in a comfortable position, like a lot of modern sports bikes. I can't do the thing down here. The pressure on my wrists, I just don't like it at all. But here it feels pretty good, and you're still slightly upright, but you can lean over if you want to. But we'll see what it's like when we're out on the road. Now, I like the position of these mirrors, the way they fan out like that from the body. They do move in like so, so if you're going through a tight gap to get the bike home, you can move them up and they just snap into place. But yeah, good visibility so far, but again, we'll find out what it's like when we're riding. Now, it does come in with a wet weight of 202 kilos, and that does sound quite heavy, but again, we'll see whether that makes any difference when we're out riding in terms of power and the way it feels in handling. However, the price is just £7,199 on the road with a 2-year warranty. How does that compare with its competitors then? Well, the Yamaha R7 has 75 brake horsepower and 52 pounds-foot of torque, and that's £9,000. The CF Moto 675 Triple, that has a comparative 94 brake horsepower and a little bit less torque at 50 pounds-foot. That's again 7,199 on the road, but that comes with a 4-year warranty. However, the only thing with CF Moto is that they're no longer through KTM, but back with Quadzilla at the moment, but who knows for how long. However, still a good bike. The Triumph 660 Daytona also with 94 horsepower and 51 pounds-foot of torque. That's 8595. And then you've got the likes of Suzuki with the GSX 8R. That comes in at just 83 brake horsepower and 56 pounds-foot of torque, 8199 on the road. Which means at the moment all the stats are in its favour. Now there are rumours that there's an A2 version. In the manual at least, there is an A2 version available, or will be available, with 47 brake horsepower. Top speed on that will be 101 miles an hour, but that's not coming to the UK for now. Now, of course, it comes with a stainless steel exhaust, so before we go out on the road, let's start it up and have a listen to it. And don't forget, it's a triple. And you may or may not know, I love a triple. So, to start it, my key is in my pocket. Turn the on button. Turn on the kill switch. Oh, very light clutch, but again, I'll talk about that when we're out on the road, as I will the dash arrangement. We'll talk about that also. But to start, oh, I love the sound of a triple. Absolutely love the sound of a triple. We'll let that tick over for a second and then I'll give it a rev. Let's just appreciate how good it looks. It's a very good looking bike. Very, very beautiful, stunning looking bike. If you have a look at the lights here, you've got the running lights at the side here, very nice. And the brake, thusly, just in the middle there. Of course, LED indicators, nice and bright, easy to see. And you've got almost like a tail tidy arrangement on this back here. You've just got this one small arm and then that's pretty much it. Of course, in the UK at least, the number plate has to go behind the rear wheel, so it has to stick out that far. But I like the little fin on here, and of course it's aluminium. Oh no, it's plastic. Oh, it felt aluminium, but that's alloy. And then this is plastic, but it's very hard plastic. Yeah, I like that. And around the front here, you've got some brilliant looking lights. If we stick the main beam on, you'll see the lights get a little bit brighter and then flash, lights up the lights below. Very nice. Indicators again are LED, and you may be thinking, where are they? Well, they're built into the wing mirrors. Little features like the fins at the side here, nice aerodynamic design. So then, it's been ticking over a while now, let's have a listen to it. So that familiar triple sound, just like an MV Agusta or a Triumph. Nice. Now I'll show you the dash when we're out on the road and you can see a better angle, but you have got different modes here. You've got sport mode and economy mode. So if you push that in, you can move it up and down. Click on mode, E or S. In the bottom corner as well, sometimes it flashes the camera, and that's because you can fit a camera, as I say, to it. You've got the menu button on this side, and you've got over here heated grips. So here we go, the 703RR. A familiar triple sound, sounds great. I've got it in sport mode at the moment. Let's try a different mode. You can change it on the fly, which is good. Eco mode, let's try that first and then we'll try sport mode. At this speed, yeah, I can instantly feel it's not as snatchy. I mean, it's not hugely snatchy in sport mode, but it's a lot less snatchy in eco mode. So that's a good. That's a good what, he says. Mirrors, I like where they're positioned, but I've still probably got 75 to 80% visibility. It's not brilliant. I mean, they're okay,
don't get me wrong, but they're not amazing. I would say the stalks could do with being a few millimeters, maybe let's just say an inch longer, but I wonder if that would ruin the aesthetics of the bike. Maybe look a bit daft, like it's got some weird antennas rather than mirrors. So it's the compromise, I guess. I can still see behind me. I may just have to move my arm a touch when I do that. Other than that, they're pretty good. I'm not getting any vibration from them, so they're obviously absorbing that pretty good, or pretty well. Gear change, very smooth. If I do want to use the clutch, it's one finger light. Very, very good. So obviously we'll see what this is like on the dual carriageway. So far, seat's very comfortable. It feels very sports bike like, which is never a bad thing, of course, when you're on a sports bike. Good gear change, nice positive clunk, I like that. Well, you still got, if you go over a bump, you've got a tiny bit of jerking, but that's just getting used to the throttle response, I think. It's not uncomfortable on my wrists, which is a good thing. The bars are not too low where I'm not enjoying it. If my arms were any lower, it wouldn't be very nice, but where they are now is absolutely fine. So the handlebar position is good. Nice sound from that engine and the exhaust system. As I say, smooth gear change. Good visibility of the dash. It's nice and easy to see. Everyone seems to nod around here whatever they're on, which is nice. So in eco mode, I'm just going to go from 23 into the 40 limit, 25 in second gear. It's ready. So am I. I want to see what the difference is between eco and sport. That'd be quite good. So in fourth gear there, from 30 to 40, pretty decent. Let's stick it in sport mode. So it's push in, wheel up, sport mode, go from 23. Again, I think it's like a typical Zontes sport mode. The higher the revs, the better it is. It's a little bit more jerky on the lower revs and the lower speeds. This does have heated grips as well as standard, so that's pretty good. So you can push in the wheel, go down to the heated grips, push them in, and then wheel down to choose what level of heat you want. We want none, because it's blooming hot already. So stick in sport mode, and we're in a 60 limit, so let's see. That is very smooth. When you're getting up into the higher speeds, you hardly even feel it change gear. Great brakes. Alright, here we go. Nice and smooth. Very pleasurable. Very comfortable on your posterior. It's not a rocket ship, don't get me wrong, but it's a 700 triple, not a 1000cc triple. but it's quick enough for a mid-range bike. Bearing in mind everything else that I've ridden, it is well on par. So let's slow down a bit and see what it's like to pick up. So we'll go eco mode. In 6th gear at 45 miles an hour to 70. Yeah, okay, now let's try that again in, oh no, sport mode, 45 mile an hour in 6th gear up to 70. Not a massive difference at all, just like the other one. So between sport and eco, doesn't make a huge bit of difference. Just quite happy to leave it in eco, I think. I will leave it in sport. Just want to go around town, do you want to be in eco? Well, I can safely say it'll definitely do 70 miles an hour. So yes, very good. So in sport mode, the gear change at low speed and low revs is more aggressive. So when you're on the country roads, you definitely want it in eco mode. Not for the speed or the acceleration difference, but for the slight difference in jerkiness and the gear change at the right revs. It changes gear much smoother at low revs and low speed in eco mode than it does in sport. But when you're on the dual carriageway and you want to give it some, sport mode is where you need to be. Oh, hello. Yeah, why are you going down the middle of the road? What to make your f***ing mind up? Dead. Okay, A2 Dover this way apparently. But it takes these roads really nicely. It's very comfortable, nice and smooth when it changes direction. There's nothing not to like here either. Oh, Zontes, you are knocking it out of the park. First there was a 368. Let's go this way. No idea where I'm going. My nose tells me to go back this way. But yeah, knocking it out of the park with the 368. And now this. You're certainly earned my respect. And you've certainly earned your place in with the big boys. Yeah, perfect, lovely. I haven't really got anything else to say. Thoroughly enjoyable. Oh, I'm here. Now what I will add is that when you're idling, it stops itself at 6,000 RPM, so you don't bounce it off the limiter and destroy the engine when you are sitting on idle. But that disappears once you are riding, because then it'll rev all the way up when you're riding. That's a clever bit of equipment. So it'll stop you smashing your bike and blowing up the engine when you're sitting there idling. So I would say this is no good for people that are used to riding Kawasaki Z1000s, because every show I've been to, all people do is bounce their Kawasaki Z1000s off the limiter. You can do it, but the limit is at 6,000 RPM. When you're riding, you can go as fast as you like. And what a really impressive machine. Absolutely brilliant bike. Love it. Brilliant. So much fun, and it does everything you want it to do. So just to sum up for a second, it rides superbly, very comfortable, very responsive. Eco mode and sport mode do their different things, like I explained. It looks absolutely stunning, beautifully designed, very well built, lots of trick equipment, great quality stuff. There is nothing I don't like about it. Beautiful machine. Anyone who's looking for a sports bike in the mid-range, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So looking at the menu, you've got fuel range at the bottom there. You've got your odometer. It's done 854 miles in total on this bike. Trip mileage, average miles per hour, average miles per gallon, which is 53 at the moment on this bike. And maintenance next due, and your fuel range, 175 miles of fuel left, and that's just using the wheel on the right hand switch gear here. And that brings me to the end of this episode of Motorsforth for the Masses. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Click the notification bell for more uploads, and I will see you next time for more. So until then, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye bye.